To donate, you can go to the website at tempoafrictv.com, and then you click on the homepage and then click on PayPal donation, and you can make your donation there. You could also call in and make a donation. The number is 612-804-0295. I cannot tell you how grateful we are for your donation. Please take the time and check out the website and feel free to donate to this wonderful service that Tempo Afrique continues to offer us abroad and at home. All this information is on the website. Just go to tempoafrictv.com and you will get more information. Thank you very much.
Hot mix mixing.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Saturday evening with Ellie Naimol Talk Show at Tempo Afrique TV. So, again, you guys have probably seen all the news and all the updates that has been happening lately. So much is changing around the world. So I'm going to speak specifically to you guys about the changes that has been taking place here in the U.S. and also how it is spreading like wildfire. And later on, I'm going to talk mainly about the topic of the sex allegation and violence against women that is filling the streets of Africa with all of these women and young girls that are finally coming up to have their voice be heard all over Africa. And not only that, to share their past stories and all the things that they went through. So I'm gonna go through my phone, and a lot of things have been taken off in social media, where even in my community, as a newer woman, where these young girls are telling their stories and they are exposing their predators and these people that they have had a past encounter with in the past. They're exposing their names, which is ironic, very ironic. So first, I'm going to go ahead and start with the updates of what is going on while everyone tune in. Because once we get into the topic of the violence against the women and the women protesting and all these sexual allegations that is happening, I want you guys to be able to call in, tune in. And if you have a story that you want to share, whatever happened in your life, or you want to be a voice for these young girls that are trying to speak up, call in. Feel free to call in, because I believe that them hearing your story, hearing your perspective of what is going on, or even just to advise them of how they can continue to have their voice rise and be louder. We want you to call in. This is the moment for it, and I believe this pandemic has really opened the door for a lot of these darkness and things that has been happening in the dark comes to light. So we need your help to help make this happen. And I'm going to go ahead and use my platform to be a voice for these young girls as well. That is my goal today, and I want to be able to encourage them as much as I can, because what they're doing is beyond heroic. I believe it's heroic, because it takes a lot of guts, a lot of bravery heart to step forward to say, this man right here did this to me, especially when it comes to a sexual allegation, especially in a culture where people are so prideful. They carry their culture with dignity and pride in these lies that they have convinced themselves into. And exposing them is like an explosion to the whole community. So I'm going to go ahead and start with some of the changes that are happening here in the United States as well. So of course, with the black and white protests and all that's going on, it's still going on in the streets all across America. Everybody's still protesting. They're getting ready for the rally of who's the next president is going to be, Donald Trump or Joe Biden. And people are still having their voice speak louder. And even through this protest after George Floyd's death, it really had opened it really had opened a lot of things in an educational way, especially for all of those children that are born here in the United States, and a lot of the white people who didn't really know about the Black history and things like that. So it's very educational in a lot of different ways. Even I myself, I want to mention, I did not know about Juneteenth until like a couple weeks ago. So, and Juneteenth was yesterday. It's a big celebration for the Black people mainly, and hopefully in the near future it's going to be a national holiday. Next year they're still debating on that, because when they did the celebration yesterday, it was so beautiful. Everybody was in the park, they were dancing. They still held on to that tradition that we do as Africans when we have weddings or big celebration, is food. They made a lot of food, they had good time, all the families were there. It's such a beautiful, honoring celebration, and I do believe they should push it as a national holiday next year. And they're planning on it, so we're hoping that pass, where many will be able to get a day off and, you know, be able to take it as a holiday paid off. So Juneteenth was yesterday. So to give you guys a little bit more information on what is Juneteenth, Juneteenth was the day that the soldiers came and announced to the country that the remaining slaves are free. All men are free, and it was the end of the Civil War. So that's the whole point of Juneteenth. I'm trying to pull up a little bit more information here on my notes so I can give you guys much more deeper details about it. But it is something very honoring. It is very important. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, why not a lot of people know about this? You know, it's such a beautiful holiday, and it has a really deep meaning behind it. So that's Juneteenth. And a lot of other changes that has been happening as well, of course, as you guys seen. Monuments are being removed across the United States as Christopher Columbus, Native American, decide to go hardcore hard and beheaded that statue down to the river. And a lot of other statues that are being eliminated as well that resemble slavery or some kind of traumatizing historical that affected us today. So that's a lot of the new changes that are happening here in the United States, which is a pretty good change. I mean, can't complain. If it's something that is reminding you of trauma every day, I believe it should be removed. Because you know what they said, what goes around comes back around. So if you massacred a lot of people or genocide a lot of people just to colonize the whole country, it could come back around. And so this is kind of, you know, we want to make sure everyone can hear me, because I think the sound got cut off a little bit earlier. And so I know I gave a lot of information there about, you know, the sex allegation and all these things that are happening. I was going over a comment that was made by someone on social media, you know, basically considering it a lie, or this is some kind of a scam, or, you know, there's money behind it or anything like that. And I just want to point some of those out, because all of these girls who are coming out with these allegations and these terrible things that have happened in their past, no one would just talk about these things, you know? So I want to make sure that, you know, I am here to speak to you guys about what is going on, as well as the protests continue on to the streets with the women's and the children's protesting about all these sex violence and pedophiles and these things that has been happening, you know? So I'm going to share some of these stories that has been posted on here. A friend of mine sent me this link today, and these are some of the things that are being exposed. Now, these women are also naming the names of their pedophiles and their sexual offenders that have done their crimes in the past, whether they were children or, you know, they were much older. And so There's a lot of comments, and some of these very few ones is, and they're very graphic, so, and so-and-so is not only a thief and a cook-headed alcoholic, but has been known to not only take advantage of women under the influence, but as well as sleep with underage girls. The man isn't active in his daughter's life, so I can see why there's no remorse there for other people's daughters. Also not his only child. Wow. Now here's the thing with that I can say, according to this little story that is in this story. So apparently this woman was sexually assaulted by this man that she named out. And most of the men in the community, in the African community, do not have remorse for their daughters. It's most common. And a lot of these girls starting at their puberty age, starting at age 9, 10, 11, 12, some they are lead to child marriages, some of them goes through the sexual abuse in their home, where their father or the man of the house bring in his friends and all these guests to come and watch TV. It's like their social moment that they do in the household. Not having any concern or remorse that there's a young girl here in the house. So that's how a lot of these sexual activity do happen in the households, and mostly fathers and don't even really look back to that, you know. So it's a continuous trauma, it's a continuous curse that has been happening for decades, that's been happening for ages. And, you know, of course, as one of our friends mentioned, about 80 to 90% of these victims that are coming out right now, that's a really large number of men that have been doing this for decades to these young girls. And these girls are getting sexually raped, molested at a very young age, which leads to a lot of the trauma that are happening later on in the community. And it's an ideology of belief to say that, okay, women's are less of a man. They don't have the brain of a man. Well, I wouldn't say a brain of a man. They don't have that much knowledge. They're not smart, basically. So the man has the authority over everything. The man says what goes and what comes. The man pretty much demands everything. So women are mostly treated as property, you know, where there's sexual rape and there's marital rape. And the difference with those two is like rape that happens to minors and children under the age of 18. And marital rape is rape that constantly happens in a relationship where the man believes that I can do whatever I want anytime I want. Okay. Those are the different rapes that a lot of women are facing in Africa. Even here in America too, where there's a tight culture within the community, where a lot of these traumas are also happening as well. So a lot of these young girls that are coming out and speaking out about it, we're very proud of you guys, and we want your voice to keep going louder and louder until all of this has come to an end, you know. And eventually there will be a point where everybody's gonna, you know, it's gonna explode. All these problems are gonna take off in the community. They're gonna come face to face to what they have done in the past, and from that point on forward, who knows what healing is gonna take place, reconciliation, and all those things. So, moving on, and there was another quote here. This young guy, he seems like a really young guy, he was announced. He lives in, he lives in Adelaide. Him and another guy raped my cousins, I kind of lost it there, okay. Took photos of her drunk, naked on their phones. I know he's done other stuff to other women, especially underage girls, but I'll let them speak for themselves. Stuff like that are pretty graphic, you know? You're doing that to your own cousins. You're doing that to your own, to the girls in your family. It's pretty disturbing. And a lot of these cases are commonly happening. They do happen a lot because most of these parents and these adults are not at home, okay? Whoever is the oldest in the child is the babysitter, and then they bring in multiple kids to watch. And most of these children are home by themselves, okay? Now, if you have a daughter among, other cousins that are in the house, it's unimaginable what they would do in those households. And not only that, these boys and these children pretty much do whatever they want, because in our culture here in America, there's really no discipline. The child does whatever they want. There's no talking to them. There's no teaching them. There's no telling them how they should live or go in the ways of their lives. So I'm going to give you guys an example, a story of two siblings. It's definitely going to be a little bit more graphic. So it says, stop wasting the lives of your children. Your silence and shame is secretly killing them. Okay. Silence is where all the wickedness takes place. Okay. Pedophiles, sex offenders, rapists, they all think that whatever they do in the dark, they will never be exposed. They go after the most vulnerable, the most youngest one, think that they'll never speak up. But this case is a little different. So in order for a child to learn, they need guidance. They don't just learn things on their own. They also need lessons and direction into life before they become adults. Now, this is very important, okay? But in a rare case of two siblings who were left alone without a mother and father, their parents have died and passed on. And these two children have other neighboring family members like aunties and uncles. The way of their life that they have picked up is very disturbing and very abnormal. The question behind all this is that the elders that are among them, why they did not teach these children the importance advices they should know, okay? And I say that because talking about sex to our children is like a taboo, okay? In the culture ways, it's like a taboo. Parents don't teach their kids about sex. They just leave them be and expect that they're gonna figure it out, until shame comes to your family later, I guess, okay? So life in Ethiopia, people are ashamed to speak the truth and rather calls them taboos. People are afraid to correct things. People are afraid to tell other things that they should know. And that is not good for them and on their children's. Okay? And I say this because a tight community that have a really strong cultures and traditions, okay, will present lies. Okay, they will present lies in a way to look perfect for others. There's competition between women's where, oh, my house look better than so-and-so, and oh, I look better than so-and-so. My children are better than so-and-so, okay? There's that huge competition going on among women's. And there's also, that speaking where if you try to correct a person and say what you did is wrong, you shouldn't have done that, oh, they will go on top of their head, They will think you're crazy, you're nuts. Like, how dare you? How dare you correct me on this, Yeah. It's like a whirlwind. They turn into a whole complete different person. That's something that needs to be abolished, period, We can't get comfortable in our own lies and no longer knows how to speak the truth anymore, okay? It's a melting pot. It's a hot mess, okay? So people can't seem to accept the truth, but rather just to leave situations alone and not be told anything, okay? Somebody who is shameful in their act rather sit comfortably in their sin. And that's what goes on a lot too in the community, in the adults, okay? You can't tell them what to do. If you tell them what to do, they're gonna look at you like you're the most horrible person in the world. It's basically a taboo to them. But in the cases of the two siblings, it is very unfortunate for them. Very naive, without any guidance, no supervision by any adult telling them how they should manage their life from the village. Okay. So these two siblings have no guidance whatsoever. The brother was sent off to Addis Ababa to go to school and decided to send along the little sister so he is not alone. So now they send the sister along with. Now they're both alone, and not to mention in one room. They're in the same room. How is that possible in any human mind to think that two siblings could be in one room? Okay, this is one of the biggest mistakes our people make in our country, okay? They don't see anything wrong with it. They're like, oh, they're siblings, they're gonna live together, you know? There's this dynamic culture that I have witnessed myself where if you have a sister and you have brothers, the sister does everything. She cooks for the brothers, she washes the clothes, she does all of that. So basically it's like she became a maid for the brothers. That's a really backward culture. I get it. They're trying to raise the man to be like that high authority, like, you know, even if the boy is younger than the girls in the household, the boy gets all the authority. The boy gets all the control of his sisters, you know? And sometimes nobody knows what goes on in that household, okay? And so one day the brother started lusting after the sister while she was changing her clothes, and that's where everything started going downhill. It wasn't discovered that they both had been sexually active until the girl was found pregnant. Either she delivered the baby safe, healthy, or not, we don't know. This is her brother's child. Incidents like this happens a lot in the community. They do. And it's very disturbing. It is very disturbing. And I think it's a lack of the culture of not knowing how to get out of the culture and how to learn new things or the new ways of life. And these people are still stuck to it till today, you know? It's very disturbing. It's 2020, you know? I get it. Maybe year doesn't matter in how much you progress in life or how much changes in life in general, you know? But all men are equal. Yes, there's a standard for man, there's a standard for women, there's a role for women, there's a role for man. You know, we get that. They're two total different things, and they both have a role to play as well, you know. But if the parents is not comfortable or they give up on their children's life, they don't even teach them anything, you know, or even growing up as a child, they just make them work, go to around and stuff. They don't even talk to them. They don't even ask them how they are doing, you know. So when they fall into a bad lifestyle, they blame them, they shame them, they cast them out. They told them, you are no longer a part of this family, you are a disgrace to the family. And that is what is happening right now to a lot of these rape cases and sexual assault that is happening in the community as well. These young girls are so brave enough to finally have come out with their stories. And I can't imagine what their parents or their uncles or even their predators is thinking right now and what they're going through. But some of the comments that are being made by the people who pretty much don't really have a good, accurate knowledge of what rape is and how it affects girls, the comments they make is very disturbing. It could really escalate trauma. It could really put you in a situation where you don't even really want to speak anymore, okay? So I say keep talking, ladies, you know, keep spreading your word, keep protesting. This is the time for this change. This has to go, okay? The culture that we live in is hell, is darkness. I get it, the whole world is not perfect. The whole entire world is not perfect. Even in border Mexico, there's children in cages. There are sex trafficking. It's going on all over the world, okay? But in order to change a community, it starts with you, what is happening right now. You can't have 80 and 90% of the whole entire community being rapists. It's is diluted. It's bad in many levels, okay? 80 and 90% in South Sudan are rapists, and they're all victims as well. Yeah, that's a really, really terrible corruption there, I would have to say. And, I don't know where this is gonna go, where it's gonna lead to exactly, but all I can say is the more you guys keep fighting on this, the better the chances that your voices will be heard and change will come to the community, okay? Everything starts with the darkness before you can see the light, okay? There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Keep fighting, and maybe this is the final change for Africa, There's a lot of ideology mindset that needs to be changed that is still happening in Africa. We have beautiful cultures. We have beautiful traditions. Let's embrace on those things and eliminate the bad seeds of our lifestyle. That's pretty much all I would say. Eliminate that. Getting married at a child under age of 18, an old man, okay? An old man, like probably in his 40s or 50s, going back to Africa, marrying a little girl that is, 14, 15, 16. Erase that. These girls have a life. Their life is being taken away from them. They're not even fully developed. They don't even know who they are yet, One problem leads to another problem, okay? You can't solve a problem with another problem. It just doesn't work that way, The more problem you try to bury and put into it, one day it's gonna explode like it's happening right now. So all the things that we are shameful, it's time to put them aside. Trust me, there's nothing better than truth, okay? Once you have come to the light and you have started to live the truth, you'll be even more happy about your life and be glad that you're alive. So anyway, my only advice I could give to all of the young girls out there right now, since we're coming to the end of the time, and I'm gonna try to say this in our language as well, to the South Sudanese community. There are a lot of Tidiata lat yen gatana nga kam, yeah, kanga de ya. But Canadian want to willing ka bukan yengat ka tidiata lat yen ka. Tidin ka tala to onunga ka community. So don't give up. Try to pen, go to Memakan Malat for a very long time. Manakon, they don't know what they're doing. They have gone through this trauma over and over. It's been a generational curse. And I believe that you guys are the light right now to the world that is making this change. And do not give this fight. This is the moment. Time to change the world. Time to bring the light. And I will say, me personally, myself, I'm from the community, and I'm not gonna be able to tell my whole entire story, but all I can say is I have been through there as well. At age 15, I have a case. It reached to the court of law, and it led to the men being deported in South Sudan. So keep fighting this case. If you can still prosecute your predator, go do it. File a complaint. Take a chance. You never know what's going to happen, okay? Like God said, I did not give you fear, but power. Okay, so do not fear. Fear is like a cloud that is just covering all the things that you can do. Fear is putting you back in that bubble that you're trying to run away from, okay? That's what fear is. So if you want to take this battle and go out there and get your predators and get justice, I hope you do get your justice, but it's definitely worth a try. Go to your local courthouse, file a complaint, and prosecute, sue them, whatever you have to do, okay? Do that. If you can handle it within the culture or within the community, bring it up to your parents, talk to your parents about it, let them confront the situation, bring it up to your uncles, because I know in Africa, if a man rapes a woman or a child, basically from where I'm from in Gambela, Ethiopia, they will be beaten up in a broad daylight. So I believe they could do that here. But anyway, that's all of my message to you guys. Time has come to an end. And I just want to say be strong, be fabulous, keep the movement going, and keep exposing the past so that all things shall come to the light. And good night.
Hi, it's me again, Korma Agustakmeyer. I'm here today to tell you more about Tempo Africa and how you can contribute. As you know, Tempo Africa is a station that services people of African descent and people in America, people in Africa. It's all over the globe. And for us to do that, we are always accepting donations. To donate, you can go to the website at tempoafrictv.com, and then you click on the home page and then click on PayPal donation, and you can make your donation there. You could also call in and make a donation. The number is 612-804-0295. I cannot tell you how grateful we are for your donation. Please take the time and check out the website and feel free to donate to this wonderful service that Tempo Afrique continues to offer us abroad and at home. All this information is on the website. Just go to tempoafrictv.com and you will get more information. Thank you very much.
Hot mix mixing.